Let's do this. It's Tuesday Teardown. Hey, what's up? Doug Cunnington here. Today, we're going to take a look at 3 about pages, and I'm going to critique them. A couple of them are good, one of them's not so good, so let's get to it. By the way, if you're new to the channel, have a look around, have a look at some of the other videos. I talk about Amazon affiliate marketing and internet marketing in general, sometimes project management. And if you like what you see, please consider subscribing. Let's get to the teardown. Let's start at Outdoor Gear Lab. So this is a site that I've reviewed before. I'll put a link in the description for the main review, but let's look quickly just at the homepage, which is a nice layout. If you need ideas for homepage layouts, this is a good one to check out. Of course, we are focusing on the About page today. So let's go to the About page. Quickly, we see, right away, something that indicates that they actually, like to go outside, which is cool. So it's a big hero image and it's showing them using gear. As we scroll down, we see sort of the same format that we've seen in, say, like Baby Gear Lab and that sort of thing, which is a partner site. We see the articles by the founder and editor-in-chief, the last update, and they sort of tell you what it's about. So, of course, it's the About page, and we're getting credibility markers left and right. This is hugely credible compared to some other sites, which we'll take a look at in a second. But when we see this, they're showing you that you're in the right place, looking for outdoor products and, where you are when you're searching for, or at least the mentality, right? Have you been stumped about which product is best? Which, I have. There's a lot of different options out there and you don't know what to pick. So as we scroll down, they have a section on how it works. So they list out they list out their process. So the big thing here, the hugely credible thing here is they don't accept evaluation units from manufacturers. They buy the products. So this is something we've seen in, the wire cutter. We've seen it in some of the bigger sites, because if you don't accept free materials, your journalistic integrity is higher, and we would expect that they're telling us their actual opinion because they haven't gotten any free products. So this is huge. The other big thing that they point out is they actually do side-by-side tests with editors, and they are actually testing the materials and the products since we actually have them, and then they sell their products that they've tested at eBay. So cool, little thing. This is unique. Not many sites do this. From a copywriting perspective, we see that they are using, short paragraphs, short sentences. They have sort of this numbered list to break things up. And that's a great thing to do in general for any type of, writing online, just because it's easier to read, scroll, and skim. Even if you're reading it word for word and very carefully, this is easier to read than if it was all, scrunched up in one paragraph. So as we scroll down, we see they're actually testing tense here. So it's very cool to see this all together. Again, credibility marker. As you scroll down, they're actually using, larger paragraphs. At this point, you're sort of roped in. You're probably going to read to the bottom at this junction here. They explain their different options, right? So this is big. You'll see that, they use these in their tables, these little graphics. Bigger sites like the wire cutter, they also give you options. And I highly recommend having like a high price point, a mid price point, and then like the editor's choice. So you could slice it and dice it different ways. Maybe there's a couple different people working on your site. So it could be like one person's choice versus another person's choice. And you can make it more personal, right? You could have like the person that always buys the most expensive thing. I have a friend like that. He always buys like the premium version of something, or if you're going to attend an event, he always gets the VIP package. He just wants that stuff. So you could have a persona on your site. It's that guy. Or, someone who's always buying like the cheapest stuff. They're always trying to be frugal. Like that would be the, most economic buy or something like that. So you can use the same ideas and make it unique to your own. As we scroll down, they do point out a couple other sites that they have, and there's a bio. So really good about page here. And we'll just quickly check. I'm going to use this tool called SEO Quake just to see the word count. So it's about 1,069 words here. It's always a little exaggerated. It actually counts everything on the page. So, but we can get a relative sense of what it is. Site number 2 that we're going to look at is best massage chair reviews. So again, quickly, we'll just look at the homepage. Big issue here is they have affiliate content right on the homepage, which is like kind of old school. It must be working for them, but as far as like actually getting guest posts and networking within their niche or any sort of thing like that, I doubt they'll be able to get a guest post, because if a person landed on their homepage, they would just think, hey, this is an affiliate site. They're really pushy. I mean, there's like buy buttons right here, right? I mean, that's like not quite above the fold, but it's like one of the first things you see. So anyway, as we move on to the task at hand, which is the about page, we'll see this page. It's fairly boring. So they kind of open just talking about massage chairs in a vague way. They're just talking about choosing the right robotic massage chair for your home. There's nothing really interesting. There's nothing here mentioning why they started the site. Stories are important, right? It'd be great if they said, I used to ride horses and I developed like back pain because of it, and just anything, right? Anything relatable. It could be purely fabricated based on what I just said about horses. I just made it up. I don't horseback ride or anything like that, but I mean, like anything here would be better than what we have. So a couple tips that I would give would be like around images, right? It'd be great to have, pictures of the person that founded the site. It'd be great to have pictures of, chairs. Like that would be a pretty good thing to have on here, considering like that they actually tested them or they used them or anything, right? The other part is having a reason to start the site, right? So it'd be good to add that in there. Additionally, it'd be really cool if they outline the review process. So I'm guessing because of the way the site's put together, it's very affiliate market-y looking. I'm guessing they don't actually like buy the chairs or test them or anything like that. It doesn't mean you can't put information in there about how you're writing your reviews. You could say, we research Amazon reviews, we look at forums, we work with the manufacturer and read their materials, just something like that to tell, the reader what you're doing. So those are a couple tips for Massage Chair Land. If I didn't mention it, I don't have any tips for Outdoor Gear Lab. They pretty much covered everything. I guess if I'm going to be critical, which is what these are all about, I would probably make the hero image a little bit smaller. I like to have words like higher up above the fold. So on my screen on my MacBook Pro, I can see words like at the very bottom, like under the image, but I would say like a slightly smaller image could be cool at the very top. But again, that's just my personal preference from a copywriting perspective. Back to the massage chair, quickly we'll check the number of words on this about page. There are 395. So if we remember back for the Outdoor Gear Lab about page, there was 1,069. So obviously, 395 words isn't terrible. I think that's probably sufficient, but the actual content on this about page is generic and boring. I wouldn't be surprised if they hired someone from like Upwork or something just to write an about page, and they said make it 400 words, and they ended up with 395. It's that generic. Moving on to another big site that does a pretty good job with their about page is Thoroughly Reviewed. So as we're looking at their homepage, it's awesome. I really like this homepage. So they have the name with a logo that's just in the font of, I guess that's a sans serif style font, and it's just like nothing fancy, nothing to offend you. It's very clean. We have this guy here who is really thrilled about checking out the reviews. So, I mean, I like it. They then mention a few different categories. So they're all over the place. They have reviews all over the place here. And I like it overall. I would potentially put a few, like fewer things on here, but I have no major gripes. This is fine here. So let's look at the about page. Again, pretty clean. They have sections here. So this is nice. This is, again, a way to break up the text. They talk about how they're completely unbiased and unaffected by price or extra features. If it's good, it's good. So they're kind of clear. It's a little generic. And they say how they know it's best. So they explain it a little deeper. And this is interesting to go into, especially if you're thinking like, how can you write reviews if you don't have the product? So it's easy to compare side-by-side specs, but what if there's a brand or style that you don't know about? And what if your time's limited? Is the site you're looking at reliable? Again, that's what they're there to do. So they say from finding products, they initiate thorough testing to find the best of the best. And it's not unusual for them to spend a lot of time rigorously testing, and they're testing techniques. So it's not clear if they actually test it. So they don't say they purchase it from what I can tell. So each product has been put through real world testing. We test and record our results. They test again, compare, and they iterate until they're confident. They add the advice and opinions of experts and real life customers and take note of online feedback. The thing that they don't mention here that Outdoor Gear Lab does mention is they purchase the product. So they don't mention that. They just say they do real world testing. So it may be interesting in another video to go and look at the actual reviews. Do they have images of them actually testing? So they indicate on the about page that they test and record. However, they don't say how they got the products, if they purchased them, if they got free reviews, free review units or what. Nice credibility marker here is the writer. So they list out like who they are and why they're qualified. It would be great to have the images of the actual people here. That's really nice to do. It's always good to have a person there. As far as their process, they go a little bit deeper. And at this point, it's a little bit redundant. I'm just going to check to see if they've actually purchased or if they mention it. They say they're not, the reviews are not based on the most expensive products like other sites. So they're trying to differentiate themselves, and I appreciate. As we look here, the last thing we'll check is the number of words. So 1,100. That's solid. That's plenty. I think from a writing perspective, I would suggest they tighten it up a little bit. They mentioned a couple times this apples to apples and apples to oranges and peaches to plums on how to compare things. And when we scroll down, like for example, let's see how many times they use the word apples. 5 times. So I don't know. It's kind of pushing the analogy, and maybe someone isn't reading the 1,000 words on their about page or the 1,100 words, but I mean that's several times to use the word apples on here. So I'm just nitpicking, but I just happened to see that. So okay, quick recap from everything. So Outdoor Gear Lab, superior. I mean it's a huge site. I'm sure they have a lot of people working on the team there. They are purchasing the products, they're explaining what they do, and they are showing, an example of how they are testing the products. They explain some of the things you might need to know about the reviews and the editor's choice, the best buy, like that sort of thing, and how they organize it. Just really, really strong and huge like credibility markers like throughout this. It's about 1,000 words or so, 1,069 words. If you're looking for, sort of best in class of writing an about page, Outdoor Gear Lab is a great example. Best massage chair reviews. This is not a great example of, number one, a homepage, which is an aside, but they really should have like an about page, a homepage that is more like a homepage, not an affiliate review. Their about page is, about as bad as you can get. I mean, there's about 300, 400 words here, 395. It is very generic. There's no story. There's no images. It's basically meaningless. They'd be better with 100 words that told the story of the person in an image, right? So this is bad. Don't do this. When we're moving on to thoroughly reviewed, solid homepage, maybe too many options, right? But they do have various categories. So potentially, someone could narrow down to electronics, right? They could do that. As far as the about page, it's pretty good. It's long enough for sure. I like that they're using images. That's really nice. They added the writers in here. Nice touch. If you can, if you have a few people writing on your site, it'd be great to put a section there, why they're qualified. I think tips here, they could add an image. It would really go a long way. And I think, this other image here is great. The other part that they can do is, tighten up anything that's redundant. I think they could probably cut out 1/3 of the words just from an editing and copywriting perspective and make it faster, right? I mean, they don't need that many words. They're not trying to rank this page for anything. So my, suggestion is just make it more concise. There's no reason to repeat yourself with, an about page. Just get to the point and move on. The thing that they left out is whether or not they test the products like physically and how they obtain those products. So I'll probably review a few of their, or I'll tear down a few of the reviews. So be sure to check that out. Search for the channel. It may come out in a couple weeks. So question of the day, what tips do you have for these sites on their about page? So be sure to consider Outdoor Gear Lab, the massage chair site, and thoroughly reviewed. I'm Doug Cunnington. We'll see you next time on Tuesday Teardowns.